For the majority of my life, people have inspired me. Some of them may have been friends and some may have been family. People who I don't even know can have an impact on my life and my aspirations. None have done so as well and as personally as my father has. He's inspired me ever since I was a child to do the hard things in life because just doing the easy things doesn't mean it makes life easy. My dad was born in the 70s. He grew up in Pennsylvania and he was raised with an older sister and a younger brother. His dad was a former alcoholic and a smoker, and his mom was a short, curly haired Italian lady who loved to cook. He never grew up very close to his dad, but from what I can gather, he viewed him as the I'm your dad, not your friend kind of a guy until he got older. He had a much better relationship with his mom than anyone else in his family. His dad played plenty of instruments, and he was kind of a grease monkey. His brother was a natural piano player, and his sister was a pretty average teenage girl. My dad tried to enjoy music and attempted to learn to play instruments, but he couldn't because of the way that his father taught him. He was a little overbearing, and he tended to just assume that if you can listen to music, you should be able to play it. And obviously, this isn't how you learn anything, and so he gave it up for a long time. My dad was much more into computers and would rather program all day than learn music. So around my dad's teenage years, he decided that school wasn't really important and that he just didn't want to do it. He slacked off a lot, and instead of working on his education, he worked out, played volleyball, and learned about computers. Now, to a lot of people, this might not seem that bad because, in fact, it sounds like the story about a really successful guy who drops out of college with a lot of tech experience to start a successful company. Only problem was that he never learned how to apply it until he got older. By college, he had wasted a lot of his high school education, but he was really fit and still a nerd. He ended up getting a job with a company in one of its mailing departments after high school. After working there, he actually got transferred into the same company's computer department, and he finally got his first tech job. Once he had his tech job, he worked for what he would describe as a mediocre job with mediocre pay and filled around mediocre people. After working there for a while, he got offered a full ride scholarship with the company's help. He took it, but he totally slacked on it, and he lost it really quickly. He regrets wasting an opportunity like that because over time, companies stopped doing it. After a couple months of working in the same department, he had one of the biggest wake-up calls in his life. He looked around, he realized he was in a totally dead-end job with guys that had been there for years and he had little to no education. He had slacked on so much work that he had an abysmal GPA, and the only thing he could really do was get into a community college. Over the next few years, he decided that he was going to salvage what was left of his education. So he saved up some money and he got some loans and he began to attend TCC, which is a local community college, for a 2-year degree in programming. He eventually did get the degree, and he managed to move his GPA up to an average in the process. He moved out, and after jumping back and forth between multiple jobs, he finally found a job starting a tech company that would eventually become the place where he works, even though the company has been bought and sold a humorous amount of times. We often joke about it. He wishes that he could go back to change things, but ultimately he can't, so he sees this opportunity to tell me and to help me learn from his mistakes. And I would say that he's done just that. One of my dad's biggest fears when raising me and my other 4 siblings is that we won't understand the importance of opportunity. Because sometimes it's hard to understand where our future is and how it can change based on how we act here and now. And I'm glad my dad has taught me this as a kid because I see how it affects me now. I want to work hard and do what I can to make the present count. Sometimes it doesn't always work out, but it's better to try and fail than to not try at all. I really hope that other people understand how important this is because it doesn't just benefit you, because the people around you see what you do and how hard you work for it. For some people, whether you see it or not, it can really motivate them towards better things. I'll always be thankful for the way that he's helped me grow because I know a lot of people don't have someone like this in their life. And I'll always be grateful for what my dad does for me and my family. And I'm glad for whatever he will do for us in the future.